everyone, I am Amanda from Mandy Lynn Plans. Welcome back to my channel for the next episode in the fountain pen series. Today we are going to be talking about several of the mistakes that I made early on as a beginning fountain pen user. I have been using fountain pens for just over a year and I have learned a lot along the way. So I just wanted to share my mistakes with you so you can learn from them. Rewind 1 year roughly ago, I was just getting into bullet journaling and I stumbled upon Boho Berry, and she uses fountain pens and she would go on and on about them. And so I started doing a little bit more research and I went to my local Hobby Lobby just to see what they had. And they actually did have some Pilot Varsities. Now I could not find them. I think I got rid of them while I was decluttering things. So I don't have them to show you, but they are just a disposable fountain pen that you don't have to ink up. It's already preloaded with ink, and once you're done, you throw it away just like any other ballpoint pen. So I got those and I was so excited. I didn't know very much about fountain pens. I just knew that they were supposed to be the smoothest writing experience ever. And I remember I was going to Sam's and I was picking up my grocery order, and I was waiting and I was like, you know what, I want to try my fountain pen. So I got it out and I didn't have any paper with me. And so I actually wrote on the cardboard the back of what the pens came in. And so let me tell you, that was not the best thing to start writing with. And I wrote on it and I was not excited about the experience that I was having. Sure, it may have been better than a ballpoint, but definitely my first mistake as a fountain pen user was not understanding good paper and the importance of using good paper when using your fountain pen. So here I have just a copy. This is just normal old copier paper, and I'm gonna write on it. This is my TWSBI Eco, and it has Apache Sunset in it. So here close up, hopefully you can see what's called feathering. That's whenever some of the ink kind of spreads out on the cheap paper. What's happening is the paper is absorbing the ink and it's causing it to have kind of that feathered look. So here's the same writing sample on a piece of Rhodia paper. Definitely a higher quality paper, one that is definitely recommended for fountain pen use. So now if I hold them both up, hopefully you can tell how much better the bottom looks. You can actually see some of the pooling where the ink is getting darker, and so there's more of a color difference. So you can tell that the bottom paper quality is definitely higher. And here is the notebook that I got the paper from, just so you can kind of see what it looks like. So after my bad experience just using the back of that cardboard box and then also some bad copier paper, I went on and I looked up some videos and I got better educated about the importance of high quality paper, and my writing experience was so much better. So what I did, I got these from Goulet Pens. And in the process of using fountain pens, you might find yourself wanting your handwriting to get a little bit nicer. And that was the case with me. And so I started a challenge called Rock Your Handwriting. And it just has a little bit every day. And so I started with my Pilot Varsities, and I will just kind of quickly flip through here so that you can see I was using my Varsities for about a week until my other pens came in, and then I was doing more with the other inks and things that I was getting. So what happened was I got very, very excited, as I do with most things in my life. Whenever I start something, I am full force and I get very excited, and I wanted it all. I wanted all the pens, I wanted all of the ink. And what happened was I bought too many pens. I thought that I had to have a pen for every pen color. I talked a little bit in my plan with me about being OCD and having to match my ink color with the ink or the body of the ink. And so I would have to have, you know, a blue in this pen. And I had to get a purple pen if I wanted a purple ink. And I had to get a green pen if I wanted a green ink. So what happened was that I got a whole lot of inks, which was really fun. And I recommend trying new inks, but I got too many pens. So this is one of my old bullet journals. For the month of March, these are all of the new inks that I had bought, just samples, not full bottles, only full bottles of a couple. And as you can tell, I really tried a lot of different inks. And with that, as I already mentioned, came a lot of pens. And what happened was that I had so many pens that I had inked up at once that they were going dry, and I was making more work for myself. Because I wasn't using them regularly, they were drying out, and it was causing me to clean them more often than I wanted to keep up with. So while I think it was good that I was trying all these inks, I think my biggest mistake in this was just buying too many pens at once, more than I could personally handle. Now, I'm not giving you the number that I bought because my number might be different from yours. Maybe you can handle, you know, 5 or 6 pens inked up at once where somebody else can't. Or maybe you can only handle 2 pens at once. Whatever that number is for you, whatever number you can actually see yourself using at one time, I would recommend only inking up that many at once. Not to say that you can't buy more, but just that you maybe only have 2 or 3 inked up at one time. So I was getting so many inks that I wanted to keep track of them better than how I have in my bullet journal here. So I took this and I actually stopped doing the handwriting challenge, but I made an ink journal. I just flipped it over, and I have a full walkthrough of this if you are interested in seeing more. But basically what I did is I just took each ink and I did one page, kind of just exploring the properties of the ink. I'm not going to flip through this now. I will link the video for you. And that was really fun for me to get to know my inks a little bit better and have a place to keep them on that nice Rhodia paper. So I did want to flip through a little bit for you. Like I said, when I start doing something, I kind of go all in. And so starting in April, my April spreads in my bullet journal were completely used with fountain pens. And so every color here was obviously a different pen, and so I had a pen for every single color, and it was really fun while I kept them inked and everything. So like I said, I got very, very into it and I loved it, but I think I just felt a little too hard into it. And then this last spread I want to show you here, this is how many I had inked up at one time, and it was overwhelming. But my next mistake that I wanted to talk to you about is about this yellow ink. So I tried out 2 yellow inks. I tried out Noodler's Sunrise and this Rohrer and Klinger, I don't know how to say that. But I'm not sure if you can tell, and part of it is hard just because of the ghosting of the ink from the other side, but this yellow is not very sunshiny. It's definitely dulled down. And another mistake that I made was not cleaning out my pens very well. So I was using a Metropolitan to test all of my inks, and I really liked having one pen that I used to test them all so that it was consistent. The nib was the same. I knew that if something was different with the way it was writing, it was because of the ink, not because of the pen. So that was something that I really liked that I did. However, if you're unfamiliar, the Metropolitan has a squeeze converter here, and when I was cleaning it, I was only cleaning it this way, squeezing water in and out, and I wasn't rocking it back to get the ink that was back at the back. And I think that what had happened, I had a blue ink, and I could tell that when I was done writing this, I thought it didn't look, you know, quite super yellow. But then I went to squeeze out the rest of the ink back into the sample, and I totally ruined that whole sample. I could tell that it was really murky and dirty and not as crystal clear as it was before. So definitely inform yourselves, watch the videos on how to clean your pens. I am in the process of making my big list of videos that I want to make for you. I cannot explain all of the details in this video. Look for a video to come, but definitely a tip for you, especially this type of converter. If you have a Metropolitan, make sure that you're tipping it back so that the water is getting all the way back and cleaning out all of the ink completely before you ruin your ink. So while I have this pen out, you may have noticed, and it's kind of hard to tell, but the nib is completely, it's completely ruined. So the nib is not supposed to be curved down like this. My husband and I, both, one of the mistakes that we made is dropping our fountain pens. Now, it's one of those things that you almost can't avoid in some cases. Murphy's Law, if something can go wrong, it will go wrong. But I think in both of our cases, we could have been more careful. So mine, I think, is a little more humorous. I was writing with my fountain pen, my green Metropolitan, and I don't know what I was doing, but I dropped it from about here, and it like stuck into my wooden kitchen table. And it was just like hanging out like this, like legit, just like a dagger, psh, stuck right in. I can still write with it, sort of. It's definitely not as smooth, and I probably shouldn't really write on with it very much. But my husband's is now, this one is my husband's, and it is now, you can't write with it successfully. I could try and bend it back. I don't really want to bother. It's not really worth it to me. We have plenty of Metropolitans floating around. As I already mentioned, we have way more than we need. But my husband was on the couch with his, and it fell from couch level all the way to the floor. So, you know, if you're higher up, it's gonna cause more damage than if you're only dropping it from this far and it drops right into the table. So I hope you learned a little bit talking through some of the mistakes that I have made in my beginning months as a fountain pen user. I wanted to go ahead and leave you with some advice. Some of this is just recapping what I have already said, but some of it is a little bit new as well. So my first advice is definitely learn all that you can. This is a good start. Looking on YouTube for fountain pen videos is a fantastic way to start. I definitely recommend Goulet pens. Brian Goulet over there has done a fantastic job. He has a lot of educational videos for you. I am also going to be continuing my series, so look for more videos in the future. I also want to give you the advice to not be afraid to try a lot of different inks. There are so many options out there, but please just know that you do not need a pen for every single ink that you buy. Now, I didn't quite buy a pen for every single ink that I was testing out, but I definitely went overboard. It is not a big deal to clean out your pen in between uses. My plan with me is I do a different color in my fountain pen every single week. I use the same fountain pen with all of those inks, and it is, you know, a couple minutes to clean it out, but it's a lot easier to clean out a pen with wet ink than it is to clean out one that has completely dried over time from lack of use. Advice number 3 is to practice your handwriting. You can do something like what I mentioned earlier with the Rock Your Handwriting Challenge, or you can just get in the habit of journaling a little bit every day and slowing down, maybe brushing off the cursive that you learned in elementary school. One of the things I love about fountain pens is how it causes me to slow down with my writing and really focus on how careful I am. They just glide so smoothly that the writing experience is so much fun, and I really enjoy writing a lot more now than I used to. My last advice is definitely the most important. You need to understand, especially if you don't have any fountain pens yet, but you're looking to get started, you will make mistakes. And one of the things with mistakes is that that's how we learn. If we never made a mistake or never failed, we would never learn anything. So my word of encouragement and advice to you is just start. Don't be afraid, and you're gonna get your fingers dirty. You probably already noticed. I usually have ink on my fingers in these videos from cleaning out pens and things, but really it's a lot of the fun is in the journey, and so I really encourage you to just get started if you haven't, and don't be afraid to make mistakes. Thank you guys so much for watching. Until next time.